What, ABC News? He alleged without evidence that they're invalid because signed by autopen. So there's no evidence to that. It was signed with autopen. What are you talking about? That's a fact. The question is whether or not it should be legal or not whether or not it's true. We know it's true. These people are nuts. They have to insert this thing everywhere they go because they're insane. All right, anyway, in a late-night social media post, Trump claimed, without evidence, President Joe Biden used an autopen to sign the pardons, and so he considered them hereby declared void, vacant, and of no further force or effect. Trump, who made retribution against his perceived political enemies a focal point of his campaign, he did not, actually, said the committee members should fully understand that they are subject to investigation at the highest level, despite no findings of wrongdoing. There's not been an investigation of wrongdoing. Wow, ABC, you are really gargling vomit on this one. Alexandra Hutzler, she's just, you know what's funny is like, I don't understand why these people are bashing their faces on the table to defend Joe Biden. Like, what about this woman who wrote this is just like, I love Joe, and like is going to write an article this way. Anyway, despite his claims, legal experts told ABC News that Trump does not have the power to overturn Biden's actions. Indeed, he does not. The question is, did Biden take those actions, not whether or not Trump can overturn them. A president's clemency power is vested in Article 2 of the Constitution and is broad and virtually unlimited, said Jeffrey Crouch. Indeed, I agree. Its few restrictions include that it can only apply to federal offenses and can't interfere with the impeachment powers of Congress. In 1929, a memo by the Solicitor General to the Attorney General on pardons held that neither the Constitution nor any statutes prescribes the method by which executive clemency shall be exercised or evidenced. It is wholly a matter of the president to decide as a practical question, blah, blah, blah. You see, this is what they're doing. This is what the media does. The question is not, does Donald Trump have the power to overturn a pardon? The question is, did Joe Biden actually sign these pardons, or was it Hunter Biden himself who pardoned himself?
And they totally gloss over that point, like, because they don't want the reader to actually ask that question. Because if the auto pen is actually how they're signed, and apparently that is the case, if that is the case, then there's no reason to be confident that it was actually the president signing them. And if it's not the president, then anything that or at least if it's not the president or the president directing them to do that, then it's completely reasonable to say, look, this wasn't the president doing it. This was one of the staffers. And there's no reason to believe that Joe Biden even knew about it because Joe Biden was clearly, cognitively impaired.
I think what you said there at the end is kind of what the most important part, like, because there are so many questions surrounding whether or not Joe Biden was senile, especially towards the end. I mean, if they're willing to swap this guy out, who really knows what were happening with these pardons at the end of the day when some of his staffers were just using auto pen. So, yeah, who knows who actually directed any of these? Well, we're assuming he was at least involved with the Hunter Biden pardon, but towards the end there, if he wasn't good enough to kind of be the Democrats' candidate, was he in his right mind enough to be signing off on these or telling other people to sign off on them with a copy of his signature?
There's no reason to say that it's impossible that Jill Biden was doing it.
I think it was Joe Biden.
For the family stuff.
I think Jill did it. I think Joe was sitting there going, brr.
Yeah. I think there needs to be an investigation to how competent Joe Biden is and all of the people who are in Congress and Senate who are willing to kind of just gloss over this fact. The fact that they were willing, again, the Democrats were willing to swap this guy out so late into the game for Kamala Harris, a really poor candidate, really speaks to how compromised Joe Biden was mentally. And there are a lot of people in Congress, many elected officials, who are willing to ride this ship for whatever reason to cover for Joe Biden in an attempt to grab power. So I think there's something to be said about the people who allowed the presidency to continue with a guy who wasn't really there. There's something to say also about Kamala Harris not invoking the 25th Amendment.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
I'm not sure. I don't know if that's illegal or not. I don't know if there's it's her duty, but I don't know if not invoking the 25th Amendment is breaking a law.
Well, she didn't invoke the 25th because then whoever she chose as her VP would invoke the 25th on her.
And
that might be the problem with the 25th.
Wasn't that Sunday? Sunday, all the pundits for the left are like, Joe, he's sharp as a tack. That Sunday, everyone, that morning of, he's so smart, he knows what's going on. But then by the end of the day, this weird, mysterious tweet comes out.
Now you've got Tapper, who
wrote a book
being like, I can't believe they covered this up, just like the New York Times put out that story. We were lied to about the COVID origins. Like, no. You guys were lying to yourselves. You're nuts.
Moreover, I just listened to an interview with Chuck Schumer where he still said, like, no, every time I saw Joe Biden, he was very well put together and everything seemed fine until the debate. So apparently we're supposed to believe that everything was la-di-da and great and Joe Biden was completely competent and coherent just until the debate. And that was the first time anybody's ever seen Joe Biden in that state, which is ridiculous. And again, people like Chuck Schumer, I don't know how he has the gall to say that right now, the chutzpah, frankly, to say that.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.